Hi there! Welcome to Parents' Domain! Sarah's singular, all-consuming goal as a parent was a concept that seemed deceptively simple. She wanted her 5-year-old son, Leo, to be happy. In her day-to-day life, this translated into a fierce, almost frantic mission to insulate him from the world's sharp edges. She viewed frustration, pain, and sadness not as inevitable parts of the human experience, but as glaring indictments of her parenting. Her days were a masterclass in preemptive action. She would slice grapes lengthwise to prevent choking, yes, but also to prevent the minor frustration of him not being able to fit a whole one in his mouth. She would hover at the playground, ready to mediate any squabble over a shared shovel before a tear could even form. She was the vigilant architect of a perfectly smooth, conflict-free childhood. If you're looking for a safe, welcoming space full of helpful resources and inspiration for parents, we'd love to invite you to visit parentsdomain.com. The bitter irony was that their home, a space so carefully curated for happiness, was often filled with a tense, brittle energy. Leo, acutely sensing her deep-seated anxiety around any display of negative emotion, had become a paradox. He either detonated into volcanic tantrums over imperceptible issues, like a seam in his sock being misaligned, or he would retreat into a strange, unnerving quietness. Sarah felt she was failing at her one and only job. The constant effort was exhausting, and the results were the opposite of what she intended. She began to suspect, with a growing sense of dread, that her strategy was fundamentally flawed. What if the secret to raising a resilient, confident adult was not avoiding difficult feelings, but embracing them head-on? This question haunted her until a dreary, rain-soaked Saturday morning. Feeling desperate, Sarah had signed up for a parenting workshop at Leo's preschool, led by an early learning educator named Anthony Semen. He wasn't a flashy presenter. He was calm, insightful, and his words seemed to land with uncommon weight. He spoke about emotional intelligence, defining it as the ability to identify, understand, and manage your own emotions while simultaneously empathizing with the feelings of others. He listed the long-term benefits: stronger relationships, enhanced coping mechanisms for stress, a deeper capacity for compassion, and the kind of profound resilience needed to navigate life's inevitable ups and downs. Emotional intelligence is not an innate trait, he explained, his gaze sweeping across the room of tired, hopeful parents. It's a skill, and like any skill, it must be taught, modeled, and nurtured by the adults in a child's life. He called this intricate process emotional coaching. As he began to methodically outline the steps, Sarah felt a fundamental shift within her, a cracking of the flawed foundation upon which she'd built her entire parenting philosophy. It was as if she had been navigating a vast ocean with a crumpled, hand-drawn map, and someone had just handed her a compass. Step 1. Slow down and tune in. Anthony's first piece of advice was the most profound in its simplicity. Slow down. Sarah's mind immediately flashed to their typical weekday morning, a frantic, high-speed ballet of packing lunches, finding lost shoes, and barking reminders, all set to the ticking clock. She was managing a schedule, a series of tasks, not nurturing a person. The educator's voice echoed in her mind, a calm beacon in her internal chaos. I think the number one thing is to connect with children. Be aware of the emotions your child is experiencing. Be open to what your children are going through. The very next afternoon, she committed to putting this into practice. It felt like an act of rebellion. The laundry was piled high and emails pinged unanswered, but she ignored them. She sat on the living room rug, a few feet from where Leo was building an elaborate spaceship from a mountain of colorful Legos. For the first 10 minutes, her mind raced, her internal monologue a relentless list of chores. It felt unnatural, even indulgent, to simply sit. But she persisted, forcing her attention onto her son. And then she started to see. She saw the intense, focused line of his jaw as he tried to attach a delicate antenna to the ship's cockpit. She saw the almost imperceptible slump of his shoulders and the slight tightening of his fingers around the tiny piece when it wouldn't connect. Before, she would have only noticed the eventual frustrated groan or the thrown Lego that signaled he had reached his breaking point. Today, she witnessed the quiet simmer that came before the boil. Leaning in gently, careful not to break his concentration, she whispered, "That small piece looks tricky. It can be really frustrating when they don't fit right away, can't it?" Leo glanced at her, a flicker of surprise in his big brown eyes, and gave a small, solemn nod before turning his attention back to the block. He didn't throw it. He didn't groan. He just took a quiet breath and tried again from a different angle. The connection was an invisible thread, but Sarah felt its strength. It was forged in the simple, revolutionary act of slowing down enough to truly see her son. Step 2. Name your feelings. A few days later, Leo's best friend, Sam, had to leave after a long and boisterous playdate. As Sam's mom zipped up his jacket by the front door, Sarah saw Leo's bright, laughing expression cloud over. He stood rigidly by the door, his hands jammed deep into his pockets, his sneaker tracing invisible patterns on the rug. His entire posture radiated disappointment. Sarah's old instinct, her well-honed habit, was to immediately distract him. "Let's go get a snack," or "wanna watch a cartoon," would have been her reflexive response. Instead, she remembered Anthony's second step, helping a child name their emotions, giving them the language for their internal world. "Be aware of your language," Anthony had said. "I would use language to describe the child's behavior." Kneeling to be at his eye level, Sarah followed the script, her voice soft. "It seems like you are upset that Sam is leaving. Is that how you feel?" Leo's lower lip began to tremble as he gave a tiny, almost imperceptible nod, his gaze locked on the floor. He refused to look at her. Then, he turned and walked with heavy feet over to the big armchair in the corner, climbing into it and turning his body to face the wall, presenting her with his small, silent back. Sarah's heart ached. The urge to fix it, to pull him out of his sadness, was a physical pull, but she forced herself to honor the lesson. Don't force your child to talk if they walk away. She gave him the gift of space. A few minutes later, she approached quietly, not touching him, but sitting on the floor beside the chair. "It's okay to feel this way," she whispered to the back of his head. "It's really sad when a fun playtime is over and a friend has to go home." He didn't respond, but she saw his shoulders relax just a little. By naming the emotion and validating it without pressure, she had communicated that his feelings were safe with her, a message far more powerful than any sugary distraction. Step 3. Let kids have big feelings. The true, crucible test of Sarah's new philosophy came on a rain-lashed Thursday. For weeks, she had promised Leo a special trip to the new dinosaur park, an event he had anticipated with an all-consuming passion. He had laid out his Dinosaur Explorer outfit, khaki shorts, and a t-shirt with a T-Rex on it the night before, but when they woke, a torrential, wind-driven downpour was hammering against the windows. The park was closed. When she broke the news, Leo's disappointment was a physical force in the room. It started as a wide-eyed, disbelieving silence. Then his face crumpled, and he let out a wrenching gut punch of a sob that seemed to tear at the very fabric of Sarah's heart. He threw himself onto the floor, his small body shaking with a grief so profound it felt out of scale for a cancelled outing. Every fiber of Sarah's being, every maternal instinct she possessed, screamed at her to stop his pain, to promise him anything: ice cream for breakfast, a new toy, a trip to the moon, whatever it took to make the crying cease. But then she heard Anthony's voice in her head, his tone imbued with a deep conviction. "We don't want to stop kids from being upset. There are enough men who do not know how to handle their emotions. Let's keep the emotions flowing." She took a shaky breath and sat on the floor a few feet from Leo's writhing form. She became an anchor in his emotional storm. She didn't try to fix it. She didn't offer solutions. She didn't try to stop it. She simply bore witness to his big, messy, painful feeling, letting it run its course. When his sobs finally began to quiet into ragged, hitching breaths, she moved closer, her presence a silent offering of support. "I know you are so disappointed," she said, her own voice thick with empathy. "You were more excited about this than anything, and it is completely, totally okay to be this sad and this angry that we can't go." As gut-wrenching as it was to watch her child cry, she recognized this as a critical opportunity. She was helping him build his emotional literacy, the foundation for empathy and healthy communication. She was letting the emotion flow, trusting it would not break him. Step 4. Integrate emotional coaching into everyday life. Through this process, Sarah learned that coaching wasn't just a tool for crisis management. Anthony had described a coach as someone who shares their wisdom and knowledge with others, while also building their capacity. This meant celebrating the good feelings with the same mindful attention she was learning to give the hard ones. It was about appreciating the entire emotional landscape, not just navigating the treacherous parts. That weekend, they watched a vibrant, funny animated movie together, curled up on the sofa under a soft blanket, a big bowl of popcorn between them. As the credits rolled, Leo was beaming. His face lit up with pure joy, still giggling at the film's silly, slapstick ending. The old Sarah would have immediately turned off the TV and moved on to the next task. Okay, time for a bath. The new Sarah saw an opportunity. She paused to coach the positive emotion. "You look very happy," she said, mirroring his bright smile. "Did you like it? Did you enjoy that story?" "Yeah," Leo exclaimed, his voice bubbling with enthusiasm. "The little penguin was so funny when he slipped on the fish." "Why was that your favorite part?" she asked, leaning in with genuine curiosity. This simple, 2-minute conversation was powerful. It helped Leo connect his abstract feeling of happiness to a specific event, deepening his self-awareness and his ability to articulate his inner world. By celebrating positive feelings with intention, she was helping him appreciate his full emotional range, normalizing excitement, joy, and pride, just as she was normalizing sadness, anger, and frustration. Step 5. Lessons from tricky times. Big emotions, Sarah was constantly reminded, rarely appeared at convenient times. One sweltering afternoon, they found themselves in the notoriously slow line at the post office. It was hot, the air was stuffy, and a baby was crying nearby. Leo, tired from a long day, became overwhelmed. It started with a low whine, which quickly escalated into a full-blown tantrum, complete with him kicking his feet against the base of the counter. Sarah, feeling the familiar burn of shame as heads turned, managed to scoop him up and get them outside onto the hot pavement. There, she just held him, whispering reassurances until his storm passed. The next morning, in the calm and quiet of their own kitchen, she decided to revisit the moment. She remembered Anthony's specific advice: go back the next day. You can say, "You know, I was just thinking about yesterday. We were in the car when you got upset. I'm wondering how you feel right now." She sat with Leo at the breakfast table, letting him finish a bite of toast before she began. "You know, I was thinking about yesterday at the post office," she said gently. "You got really upset in that long line. It was a tough moment for both of us. I'm wondering how you're feeling about that now?" Leo shrugged, pushing his cereal around with a spoon. "It was boring," he mumbled, his voice small. "And hot." Sarah nodded, validating his experience. "It was really boring. And you were feeling tired and hot and grumpy. That's a tough combination." She then used the beautiful, validating script Anthony had shared in the workshop. "I'd just say that I was upset to see you so upset, because I love you, and you know what? We'll have more moments like this. You're bound to be upset again, and I am too sometimes, but I'm so glad you've calmed down now." This gentle, shame-free check-in allowed Leo to process the event, framing it not as a personal failure, but as a shared human experience, all while celebrating his emotional growth. Step 6. Know your emotional triggers. This entire journey, Sarah discovered, was a dual one. It was as much about coaching herself as it was about coaching Leo. Anthony had passionately emphasized the importance of parents understanding their own emotional triggers. With some uncomfortable self-reflection, Sarah realized that Leo's public tantrums triggered a deep-seated, visceral feeling of shame in her. In those moments, she felt like a failed parent being judged by a jury of strangers. Her reflexive reaction, a sharp tone, a desperate need to shut the behavior down at all costs, was more about soothing her own inadequacy than addressing his legitimate distress. Remembering a suggestion from the workshop, she took an online emotional intelligence test one evening after Leo was asleep. The results were illuminating and humbling. She scored high on empathy, but alarmingly low on emotional self-regulation. It made perfect sense. She could feel for Leo, but she struggled profoundly to manage her own reactions to his feelings. Recognizing this was a game changer, the next time she felt that familiar hot flush of shame during a difficult moment in the grocery store, she could mentally label it, "This is my shame. This is my feeling of being judged. This is about me, not him." This small sliver of awareness allowed her to take a crucial breath, to separate her baggage from his experience, and to respond to him with the thoughtful calm he needed, rather than reacting from her own triggered state. Step 7. Accept being under construction together. One afternoon, Sarah was locked in a losing battle with a piece of flat-pack furniture. The instructions were a series of baffling hieroglyphs. A crucial screw seemed to be missing, and she felt a wave of intense, irrational frustration. She let out an exasperated growl and threw the instruction manual onto the floor. Leo, who was coloring at the kitchen table, looked over at her with wide, curious eyes. In that instant, she had a choice. She could stuff down her frustration and pretend everything was fine, or she could model healthy, human, emotional expression. She chose the latter. "Mommy is feeling very, very frustrated right now," she said, pressing her palms against her eyes and taking a few deep breaths. "This is really tricky and it's not working and it's making my brain feel fizzy." She then looked over at Leo and offered a small, tired smile, remembering Anthony's humble and powerful advice on normalizing the learning process for everyone. "You know, I am still trying to learn how to be calm when things are hard, just like you are. We're all what I'd call under construction. We're all still learning how to be people." Leo giggled at the phrase, under construction, the tension in the room instantly dissipating. That simple, honest admission transformed the moment from one of parental imperfection to one of shared humanity. It reassured him that emotions were complex, that everyone struggled, and that it was okay not to be perfect. It was, she realized, perhaps the most important lesson of all. This philosophy became the new, sturdy bedrock of their home. Sarah created a small, calming space in Leo's room, a cozy corner with soft pillows, squishy sensory toys, and his favorite books about feelings. It wasn't a timeout corner, but a safe haven he could choose to go to when he felt overwhelmed. They used his puppets to role-play scenarios, giving his lion puppet a mighty roar when it felt angry, and his turtle puppet a quiet shell to hide in when it felt shy. Emotional words frustrated, excited, nervous, proud, disappointed, worried became a regular, comfortable part of their daily vocabulary. Emotional coaching hadn't magically solved every problem or eliminated every tantrum. What it had done was infinitely more profound. It had given both Sarah and Leo a shared language for their inner worlds. It had transformed moments of crisis into opportunities for deep, authentic connection. The foundation she was now building was not one of constant artificial happiness, but of deep, unshakable emotional resilience. She was giving her son the tools to navigate the full, beautiful, and sometimes difficult spectrum of human emotion with confidence and empathy. By slowing down, listening in, and embracing all feelings together, she was giving him and herself the greatest gift of all, a thriving, understood, and emotionally rich life.